Jo'Van's got a great
Welcome to
voice.
Closing the Gap,
Beyonce was kind of average.
guys.
I remember that, Jo'Van.
Well, we have a live guest. As you see, we're already being silly.
Yes. This is Westcam Wright, aka Westcam,
Fake
aka
applause.
CEO.
We out here fake applause. I
Yes,
see
sir.
y'all. I see y'all. Shout out
Yes.
to y'all in the back. What's
Yes.
happening? Thank y'all. Thank you.
You probably caught the end of our previous conversation. He saw Lion King for the first time last year, so
Yeah, he
kinda
almost
talked about that.
got kicked off as our guest. I was a little shocked by that.
Yeah.
Y'all know
But,
what's wild though? I saw the live action version first
whew.
before I actually saw the cartoon.
So, okay, what did you think of the live action?
So
Did you like it?
I just said there's no hope for me seeing the cartoon after this.
Well, yeah, you're
The
all
live
messed up
I'm
now.
off
You're all
it, man.
messed
So
up.
how did you feel about the cartoon before we continue?
So it was like, I don't know. I
You mean
grew
live
up,
action?
Another cartoon.
He saw the live action first.
I
saw
know,
live
but I'm
action.
saying,
Oh,
what did you
oh,
think of the
okay,
cartoon?
okay.
but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like the concept of the movie may have just. I'm too old for it. I think.
Yes.
I think I would
Okay.
have had to see
100%.
it as a kid to really appreciate
I'm a
it
Disney
and
child.
grow
Like,
with
I'm
it.
obsessed with Disney. Like, I still watch it today.
Like J. Cole is young Simba in my head more than any other cartoon kid now.
You know what's
It's
crazy?
There.
Okay.
Okay,
See,
guys.
Real quick. It's funny because I can't even believe that you could even grasp the whole concept of that song because you never saw Lion King. But anyway, we can't go down that path.
Yes,
I mean,
we
yeah.
will not go down this path.
Why is this young lion trying to be J. Cole? Like I'm watching the movie, like what's happening
Guys,
right now?
this is Wesley Wright, one of my really good friends, CEO of the Regenerative Society, a community I've been a part of for the last couple years. Does a lot, and I'm gonna let you speak to that. But this man is not only the CEO of a nonprofit, but he's also a really talented musician, and he's got a lot of work out there. So, Wes, talk a little bit about your organization, your music, all the stuff that you do, man, because you do a lot.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
You do.
Yeah. Okay. No, I hope everyone is good. My name is Wesley Wright. As you know, Jo'Van graciously gave me a fantastic intro. Well, you must have had that in your pocket. It was in your bag.
Yeah, it's up here, bro.
This stuff I forgot. I'm like, oh wait, I make music. Oh my goodness. But no. Long story short, the Regenerative Society, we'll start there because you said that first. We take the God-given gifts of 17 to 24-year-olds and we teach them how to not only find different avenues to channel those gifts, but also teach them at the same time how to develop them and give them back to the community at the same time. So,
Awesome.
long story short, you were talking to a biology and theater major that left the theater because biology and theory is the better position. It puts you up financially in the best space.
Right.
And then I'm one credit away from graduation, realizing that I don't want to do anything with biology. So I don't want anybody to have to go through that route. And the founders who we worked with, whether it be Nehemiah, Shalika, like all of us were kind of in that same place, OJ, of trying to find newer capabilities really to try and reach. And so we saw that, whether it was trying to do apparel or trying to do as Black people, right, really kind of stepping into that IT world, that app development world, mobile development. Photography was not really popping back then.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't what people see as the land of opportunity now. So we want to help provide those younger individuals with opportunities to reach those spaces to where they're not looking back at their degrees and saying like, wow, I never use it, or it's a coaster in my mom's house or anything like that. It's something that they can make a decision and say, hey, God showed me that I can really do this, because I never would have known music. You touched on it.
Yeah.
Music. I never would have known that music was a thing unless I had a platform to try it.
Yeah.
So we want to give these younger people an opportunity to try those platforms. Discover what they're good at, discover
Yeah.
what they're bad at. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that you do, and just let God do the rest. And put you in a good community. So
That is awesome. That's so dope.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Our
doing
PR
it.
team wrote that, and I just want to
I just want
go ahead.
I just want to say, man, you do an excellent job. I mean, all of the projects, all of the platforms, all of the events that you've helped young adults get into, and even maybe not so young adults, including myself.
Man, we're not as young as we used to be.
Right. But
Man,
Y'all are still young.
that sounds good until
You
we
are.
stop the show and my knees start talking when I get up. It's gonna
Listen.
sound great. I feel you though.
But you're still young.
Yeah,
Thank you.
man.
You young, Brandice.
Yes.
Older than y'all, but y'all are young.
But yeah, man, you're having a great impact, and also, So the topic of today is youth and healing the youth.
Yes.
And the reason why I was like, man, this would be a great topic for us
Right.
is because you work with not only, I would say, 17 to 24-year-olds, but you've also worked with younger kids as well. And
For
you
sure.
don't just do that within Regenerative Society, from my understanding.
For sure.
You do that with the athletics,
Yep.
but you also do it like, I think you told me you like work with students.
Yeah, so it was wild. I don't know. I feel like I've always kind of been around younger people, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when I first got to Birmingham, found a church home at Refresh Family Church, and just Timothy Alexander.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
literally, and I always say it is imagery as well, for our rap folks, right? But at the same time,
Right.
in real life, like I feel like that man walks 1,000 miles past anybody else for what he wants to champion. And he was just leading a younger youth ministry, and I just kind of helped out from there. So it looked like actually teaching a little more scriptural principle with those younger individuals. So we were working with like 12 to 18-year-olds. Then it was on to like the Ali Stevens Center, where you get to see younger people kind of come in and out, and they're working on whether it be acting skills, musician skills, all of that. And now, but like you said, I almost forgot, working with the Dream Big Center and the not New Orleans, but Magic City Pelicans, and then teaching, trying to instill more, real life principle into them as well. I think Nehemiah and them are good at the basketball type.
Right.
But, we're working with like 7th graders, 8th graders, and now this year 12th graders as well. So 12th grade, kind of a little bit outside of 12th grade, but also 11th grade. So I've always been around them.
So,
And
like,
now
what
it's
exactly
us.
are you doing, like, with them? Like, what's some kind of, like, curriculum or things you're kind of motivating them to do?
It depends. So, like, I always try to not reinvent the wheel. I feel like too many cooks in the kitchen just ends up with nothing actually at the kitchen. Nobody
Right.
can eat at that point.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
for me, I always try to, provide different avenues and different perspectives. I think, like, Tim was a great example to where when it came down to, like, Tim was a storyteller. Like, and that's a hard storyteller to beat. So, like, what he's bringing in the more real life perspective, I say, okay, how can I try to add a different angle to it? So I may actually be coming from, what did we learn on Sundays in that space, right? Or let's take the Pelicans, for example. Like, I think Nehemiah and those coaches who are in that realm every single day are great at that. They're learning the X and O's. I was never an X and O guy, but maybe, while they're more so focused on the basketball, I'm teaching them, hey, you need to be focused on, your ACT. GPAs, right? Making sure that you're being able to balance your schoolwork just as much as you balance this, because I was supposed to be playing at, BSC. But I never would have been at UAB if it was, up to an ACT score that I missed 2 points on.
Wow.
So it's little stuff like that that I'm trying to say, let me see how I can attack it from different angles. That way, those who are a little bit more in that heavy space of doing it, I don't have to be in their way. So I may not have like a solid curriculum in that way. I just kind of feel it out.
No, that's...
And just fill a hole, like as they say, man. Basketball terminology: leave a spot, fill a spot. So
That's awesome.
That's me.
Yeah, and then since you are young, they can relate to you more
hey, y'all
than...
heard that. She said it, but
He
hey,
is young.
I'm
You are young.
You feel me?
No,
Make sure y'all
but-
put that in the comments. I'm young. You heard?
You are. So I feel like they can relate as opposed to like someone their parents' age trying to like motivate. I'm not saying that they can't,
Right.
but it's more relatable. So
It's cool because I think they're finally starting to see. I think with this generation and the generation what we're in now, I think they're actually starting to have mentors that are doing what they envision themselves possibly doing. Like when we were growing up, I don't know any successful rappers at my age that were close enough
Right.
within touch.
Right.
Right. So I don't know like I couldn't reach out to Lil Bow Wow or Romeo or like even
Right.
Sammy, right? On the R&B end, I couldn't reach out to B5 and they
Right.
tell me
Yeah.
exactly how to get there.
Right.
You just kind of had to be in that local scene where kind of everybody's on the same plane. Like I
Yeah.
think for now, they're seeing like whether it be even you guys, right, being able to host this show, like so, hey, wait, okay, maybe I can get in contact with them,
Right.
Right.
and learn
Definitely.
about exactly how to maybe build my own brand, right, or be consistent. Like I think you guys' consistency is fantastic. I was telling them, I was like, yo,
appreciate
y'all,
Oh,
not only did
appreciate-
y'all start this, y'all stuck with it
Yeah.
every
Thank
single
you.
day,
Listen,
And-
encouragement means a
It
lot.
got better because now I'm here.
Ah!
Like, what's up, man? No, I'm
No,
playing.
that's real. That's real.
But
though.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think that's a major thing, being able to see people that look like you and that are relatable to you now, instead of it just being like a parent who has like a government job trying to tell you about how to be an artist. Like that's
Yes.
hard because it's like I don't even know if I relate to you. And then even on the basketball side, like we get out there and we're still young enough to actually play with the kids.
Yes.
So I'm giving you the advice, but I'm also showing you how to be able to do it too.
Yes.
You know, I
I'm
think
glad you said somebody who looks like you too.
You know,
because that matters. Yeah.
That's facts.
it helps.
It
helps a
will.
lot.
Yes.
So with these interactions that you've had with the youth, between, you know, like you said 8th graders all the way up to college students.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into this topic where I've been seeing like maybe some of the negativity that is within the youth manifesting into just, I would say just, well, negative experiences. For
Right.
instance, the personal story I have is I was at a friend's apartment complex recently, and they were and the people above them, they were college students, and they were like throwing trash like from the balcony down to the patio, and I'm sitting there. I was on the phone, right? And so I'm sitting outside. And
Let me call you back.
Yeah, I was like, let me call you back,
back.
because I just felt very disrespected. You know what I'm saying? So I stepped from under, and I was like, hey guys, would you mind not throwing trash down here? You know what I'm saying? Keep it upstairs. Two of the dudes were cool, but one of the dudes, he was mad that I even said anything to him.
Like, oh, bet.
Like, yeah, he already was upset, and he was just like, man, there's not even trash. There's black and milds everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this isn't trash. He was like, black and milds aren't trash. You know, like the real ignorance.
So why don't you just keep it up there?
Exactly.
Like if it's all right, but you got it. I feel you.
And he was like, man, you know, sucking his teeth. I looked him in his eyes. I was like, bro, just man to man, I'm asking you to not disrespect our area. And he was like, yeah, whatever. And so I was
Then
just
you
like,
climb through his window like bro man from the 5th floor. I feel you. You know what I'm saying?
One of the
you know
best
what's
shows
crazy?
ever.
Martin reference, right? That's why.
Just kidding.
All right,
No.
yeah. See, he won't go get it. This guy.
I didn't get it. I'm just like, all right, the guy that was just talking smack about Martin before.
But at
the
least
show.
he got it.
Anyway.
No, man.
I'm gonna put him on blast. He said Martin wasn't good. So hey, y'all get him in the comments for real. Yeah,
You're not gonna get me in the comments for that. Martin
Listen,
is a middle tier show. Continue your example. It's cool. It's just middle
I'm in
tier,
the middle,
though.
like both y'all are wrong.
I'm weak. But but I walked away from that experience, and I'm just like, where did all that negativity come from? I know it didn't have to do with me. And I'm like, so you telling me I can't even say something to you? Like I can't address you? Otherwise, if I don't say anything, you're gonna think it's fine anyway to throw stuff in.
Right.
Like, so that was the first thing. The second thing was, I don't know if have you seen King Richard?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not seen the movie. But go ahead.
right.
Go ahead. You good?
So there's
It's
this
not a
scene.
spoiler.
No, it's fine. Do you think?
Yeah, it's too late for you. It's too late.
Yeah, it's
bro.
too late. It's too late.
This is not a spoiler, so you're good.
So there is this scene where Richard is at the tennis courts, and he's still in Compton, and he's just training his daughters, right? And then out of nowhere, there's these group of guys over to the side, and they're like saying things and just being just disrespectful. So Richard, says something. He's like, hey, like, stop being disrespectful.
He told Chris Rock, chill out. I got you.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Except he got slapped. No, I'm sorry. But
Oh, God. Whoa,
no, there was
Lord.
violent. Like they got violent towards him. Okay.
You gotta throw the episode away now. Go ahead, I'll play.
I'm now like, where are we going here?
No, you good.
They got violent towards him for even saying like, "Don't disrespect me
Right.
or my daughters."
Yes.
Right.
And I was like, man, that's kind of like what I felt when I was dealing with the neighbors. And then the third example is, I won't get specific, but there was this time where I was around you, and there was a person, and they were upset, and it had nothing to do with anybody there.
Right.
But they were taking it out on everybody.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I saw how you handled it. I saw how you kind of sat there and observed, first of all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
do. I'm
All
here.
right, yeah.
I'm there.
And you handled it.
I did like a That's So Raven moment. I'm in my
Yes.
I'm good. Go ahead.
Yes. You handled it so well. And I was just I wanted you to kind of speak to how did you identify what was going on in that situation, and how did you know how to handle it? Because when someone's in that space of being, I don't know, we're at that space.
Right.
You've dealt with a lot of young people.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle that and still get to them and get through that thing?
Well, thank you for the compliments. I do appreciate that. That's not necessarily very easy to do in that space. So like, for example, I do customer service now. And I think growing up, it was so interesting on why I felt like I was around people that were kind of always in that space of life. Because I feel like you never know what like young people grow up through, and I think I've always just been very respectful of that. To where it's like you're kind of, I always say like a person is not the moment they are. Right now, their history is a collection of them, sure, right? Maybe you can build what their character looks like from that, sure, but at the same time, they're not what that moment is 99% of the day, right? They can be angry 99% of the day, but they're not that moment 99% of the day. So it's a lot of times trying to figure out, where does this start? Maybe what's the context of who I'm talking to? You kind of just start asking yourself a bunch of questions, and it's so funny that you bring up that example, because that example is not even a point I can get to if it wasn't for me being in the community I was in, right? So let's say, for example,
Explain what you mean by that.
So like my girlfriend, like Shalika, right? We know her, one of the founders of RS, has been able to teach me so much about thinking from a different perspective other than mine. Like the biggest thing I always could have ever done was put myself around people that did not think like me.
Yes.
And I mean it even in like an aspect to where there are people that, on outside, maybe a little even surface value relationships would just clash. Like I just would not be around you in that space. But it's always trying to be around those people so that I can learn from a different perspective or see things from a different perspective. And like Shalika's always been great about saying, hey, you shouldn't think that way. And I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Like, why? And so she'll break it down, and the fact that I won't understand is the reason why I need to understand.
Yes.
So by the time that's almost like practice. Every time, we have a conversation like that. So you get to those moments and it's like, wow, I've seen this before. Like, okay, cool. So, okay, there's no point in me yelling back at this, because I feel like it just doesn't even out, right? Too much pepper or too much salt just makes it salty, or makes it too spicy, right? So you have to have a balance of it. So why am I going to scream over you, or why am I going to not try and get a better understanding of your perspective, right? You use the guy on the roof, for example, or his balcony. Like, that battle was long gone before he even got to that moment.
Right.
But it's just a matter of saying, okay, when you leave it, like, what do you do with that information, right? One, you still got to clean your balcony off. You know what I'm saying? You don't kick it off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still trying to figure out there's a reason why in his head this is okay.
Yeah.
Right? So no matter what I say at this rate, it's either going to just irritate you, set you off to the next level, and may not get to the point. But there's still a bigger point than just this moment here. You know what I'm saying? This is just a result of the principle of whatever. And even that moment that you're talking about with the conversation I had, it was just learning, like, okay, let's figure out what the core perspective of this is here, right? How did we get here? Because at the end of the day, if we don't handle why we got here, I'm just going to be treating you like a moment that you're not.
Yes. That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, that's not, like, I feel like that's not, I wouldn't want nobody else to do that with me until they want to sit down with me and tell me, like, hey, let's talk about what's going on. And maybe time and place, right? But yeah, it's just, you know.
That's good. And I think that everybody just going through life should think that way. Like, everybody's going through something, like, and that moment might not be the best representative of themselves. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. Like, hey, they're having a bad moment. This doesn't define them as a person, and got to extend grace. So I'm glad you said that. But I got some comments here.
No, do your thing. Do your thing.
So first, just off subject. So Doreen was said what based on your Martin. I'm assuming that's what that was from your statement.
She didn't mean
it's not Martin.
She was talking about what from the Lion King. She was like, why are y'all watching
She said that a while ago.
And that's her favorite movie. So, yeah.
Well, so that's just that. I just have to put that out there. We do have a question from Mitch, our editor over there. What are some of the biggest issues you see among the youth you work with?
That I work with. Okay, let me think about my age group. That I work with is, and this is gonna sound bad, but I'm gonna explain it as we get there, is themselves. Right? So, and I always answer that question that way, because it's not like what they do or their actions or anything. It's that sometimes they can't get out of their own head. Like, it's literally, it's like, it's tough, because it's like you can almost feed into something. But, like, let's say, for example, if, let's use this canteen, for example. If this canteen has its top off, I can pour into it. However, most of the time, it's like pouring into someone that has a lid. You can't get anything in there because they can't get the lid off. So it's tough to really kind of, whether it's like motivate somebody, right? And you know me, you know how we kind of have conversations. It's cool because, the goal will be, I talk to people as to where they're going, not as to who they are. Because I feel like we know how we are, right? We
Right.
can tell ourselves everything about ourselves, right? Self-aware, right? We always talk about trying to be self-aware. So you telling me about what I'm already going through in this moment doesn't help, right? Because I already know. So especially if you're a super overthinker like me, I'm already 10 times ahead. Like, okay, whatever you're about to tell me, I've told myself and it didn't work. So
Right.
whatever you're finna do now is different. But talking to them, it's hard because they don't see the images of themselves like maybe I will. And it's hard to, one, we always talk about relatability, right? How do I relate to someone that age? It's hard to relate to them when they can't see them for who I see them for, or who someone else sees them for. They see the promise and potential and beauty of, let's say, for example, a bad moment that could turn into an amazing story.
Yeah.
They can't see that yet. They can't see, like, man, I'm not used to being around people, right? We always talk about the team setting, especially, because that, if people had to work individually in RS, I don't know if it would work the same, because I don't know how much growth it would force somebody to do. But in the aspect of even that, a lot of people aren't used to being around settings where people want them to grow and actually develop.
That's facts.
And that's tough.
That's facts, because then
That's
when
tough.
they get in there, it's very uncomfortable.
It is.
And it can almost be very abrasive for them. They'll be like, man, like you're just always on me. It's like, no, this is just an environment that you want to be in. You know what I'm saying? You want to move forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's facts.
And I wish I wasn't biased to already know that sometimes, because we always ask ourselves, like, what is this like for someone else coming into this? Because it's hard to know, because we just be like, man, why aren't you getting this sometimes?
Yes.
But it's cool because at the same time, you see someone who, like, a lot of the common story is, I'm not used to being around this many people in this space that are pushing me to be better. And so they're not used to hearing certain languages. They're not used to hearing certain words. They're used to processing them on their own and not having to processing them for external use. They just can process it for internal. But now it's different, because now I'm expected to take what someone is telling me, and now they're looking at me for what they're telling me, and I have to find a way to, like, make it make sense or click. So that's why I think that's the biggest thing right now, is just getting them past themselves.
Do you have any examples of like like a young adult who had like a troubled background and just so closed off that they aren't able to like see the bigger picture, or like
It's a good example. Yeah. No. Yeah. I think our guys are a little different, because they handle kind of their own things on their own, right? I think, or at least it doesn't come to light as much as maybe our girls do. But let's say, for example, you're seeing girls who aren't sometimes used to what unfiltered love actually is. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
What do you mean by unfiltered love?
so, like, it's always come at a cost. Right, it's always come at okay, hey, because of, let's say, for example, like traumatic scenarios they've been in, right? They're used to putting out certain levels of communication, right? Or I'm used to being abrasive. I'm used to being, upfront. I'm used to being, I'm used to jabbing at people, right?
Yes.
And a lot of times, I always say, like, young people are used to people reacting to that and just leaving, right? Or being away from the space. You see what I'm saying? So
No, that's facts.
it's almost like a defense mechanism
It is.
sometimes, and then it becomes just second nature. So
Yeah.
now my first level of communication is abrasive or aggressive, and I'm already expecting someone to get out the way of it. But the worst thing, like, I feel like every time it comes up, the worst thing they do is someone stay in front of it, because
Bro.
now it's like my mind is shattered. It's
Yes.
like that normally worked, but that didn't work, and it's
Wes.
like, yeah, no, I still love you. What's up? Like, what? Like,
Oh,
what else
that's
is here? You know what I'm
good.
saying?
I
Like,
have
let's
to
talk.
say-
That's tough.
it is that is
You-
tough.
Like, it's
Especially
tough.
oh yes, because hurt
That is
people just
hard.
like dish out a lot of stuff, and yes,
They're
that is
used to
good.
people just walking away from it instead of, like, just being there thick and thin to see,
That's
see it through.
good.
I dealt with this firsthand.
Yeah.
When I dated a girl a couple years back, and I remember this one time. It was crazy to me, because I didn't know what was going on, but we were having an argument, right? And then she got to a point where she just kind of shut down. It wasn't like yelling or anything. It was just like, it was a disagreement. She shut down and stopped talking. So I was like, well, if you're not going to talk, then I'm just gonna go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not
That's how it would be. It's like, what is there to talk about? We're not conversing.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's like, it's not in the spirit of like, oh, I'm through with you. It's just like, right now you don't want to talk, so I'm just gonna bounce.
Yeah.
And literally, I turned around to walk, and she was like, just leave like you always do. And I was just like, what? I was like, we've literally never been in this situation ever. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I feel like you're projecting right now.
Yeah.
And I think, me trying to just actually work it out.
Right.
Was very confusing for her.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, it was the strangest situation I've never been in. But no, that's facts.
It's like, man, it's patience. Like, that's all it is. And
yes.
like, we're always taught to remove ourselves from negativity.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of times, like, I guess you maybe have to be in the church to hear it in certain aspects. I don't even know if they do it like that well, but that's a different conversation for a different day. It's always learning how to say, okay, now that I'm in this scenario, what do we do with this scenario? Because the negativity's out there now.
Yes.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't unsee it. I can't act like it didn't happen. We can't act like it was never something that came to light.
Right.
But do we want to be right back here a week later and not have any process?
Yes.
Or not have any progress with that? Or do we
Right.
want to actually say, okay, since we're here and since we're at this place, okay, man, let's figure out what to do with it.
Yes.
You know? And it's a long process. It's
Yes.
patience to give to that person, but it's patience to also give yourself that you're not going to see the progress as instantaneous as we want to.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, all right, never mind. All right, I'm going to finish this one.
No, that's good. Listen.
I'm going to forget. So it's like, we always talk about like how to actually save people in terms of, a Christian like way, right? I think what we talk about in terms of RS is so cool because we always say, get used to like not being the home run. Like in Christianity, we want to be able to bring you from the streets, I'm right here with you, there when you baptize, dip you in the water ourselves, splash it off our own forehead, and then be like, man, look, we got you from here to here. And it's tough because we're not used to just saying, hey, maybe I'm just supposed to be first base. Like maybe my job is to just get you used to even wanting to be around somebody like this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's
why I say it's
like
long
that.
game patience.
Yes.
It's deep. It's rough.
We do have another question from our editor over there. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell Sattler. How do you feel about the older generation? How do you feel the older generation can help heal the youth?
I want y'all as hosts to tell me who the older generation is. What
well,
older generation
Mitch,
you talking about?
can you
now
please?
We're slightly stepping
Right.
into that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little different now. But go ahead.
I would assume like our parents' age when
Okay.
when I think of older generation.
Okay. So you would say
I'm
parents.
still young, like
Okay.
you said earlier. I'm gonna claim my youth. 40 plus.
40 plus.
That's what our editor said over there.
Okay.
40 plus.
How they can help
Yes,
respectfully
respectfully. Just
move out
that
the
one.
way and then be in the way at the same time. So like
explain.
okay. So and I think, without me having kids, this is a little bit more of an idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of times we can be so hard set in our ways that we can be doing that individual a disservice by doing what clearly hasn't worked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, for example, I use my mom as the biggest example. I love my mom to death, and she loves me more than anything. But she can only love me the way that she knows to love me.
Right.
Right. And at that time, especially when I was coming up with like music and really starting, her way of love was making sure I didn't do anything risky. So everything that's going to come out of her mouth is going to make sure that I'm in the best secure position. And rap is the exact opposite. Right.
Absolutely.
So that's why I say like sometimes it would have been something where she just like her not saying anything sometimes would have been better than her saying anything at all, even though it may be love. And it's the same way about, I think, learning that my advice to you may not be best because I'm going to give you advice that I know someone that could probably give you better because they can relate to the scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, a lot of times, we experience, I feel like there's always experience is the biggest teacher. The Bible always says, go to those who are wise, seek wise counsel. But that's also knowing sometimes for yourself that I may not be the wisest counsel. So if there is, maybe I can find someone who can relate to you in a different way, or because I don't understand it. And until I get a little greater of an understanding for whatever it is you're going through or what you've been through, I may just need to step aside for a second and just figure out how to just sometimes be there instead of trying to be more than just there, trying to be whatever the answer is to your question. And I don't even understand the question. Like that's tough.
Yeah.
Like as a like, I'm not 40 yet, but boy, I think the generations that are going to come after us are going to be in a completely different extraterrestrial space.
Yeah.
Right. But I think I'm learning now that, you know, I feel like the world is catching up to our ideas and mindset. You know, they're always growing. I think we have a better way of saying, okay, I know what worked, or I know what I wish I would have had. And that's something I always tell, you know, with RS, be the teacher or the person you wanted to have for yourself.
Oh, that's good.
You know, and I think it works a little better because now you have an opportunity to say, man, if I had that, I would have been able to provide that. Or if I had somebody just for a second be quiet, I may be more apt to have wanted to talk to that person or have been there if you're just like supportive instead of just boom in your face. But that doesn't mean correction isn't bad though. You know,
Right.
Like you say, he might not have been used to people talking to him straight up about, yo, that's not right, because his environment may have only showed that that's okay. Right. If I'm from an environment where black and milds are everywhere, then I don't even see them as trash. I just see them as normal.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't want them on my balcony.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, yeah.
Right. Nah, man. Hey, man, I know there's no beat playing, but this man's rapping right now. I just hear bar after bar.
I said, hey, yo.
Nah, man. Like,
You're good.
you really said something I really liked, which was being wise enough to know that you don't have all the answers. I feel like certain people, they just feel like they know everything and they can give advice on anything. And then, you know, I used to just flat out say, like, if you haven't been there, you can't tell me how to get there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I do
True.
feel like sometimes people do have some wisdom to be like, hey, you know, they can say something. But in general, I feel like if you haven't been there, how are you going to tell me how to get there in general? You know what I'm saying?
For sure, yeah.
And I feel like some people, I don't know if it's ego or what, or they just want to be seen a certain way, but they do need to learn how to just like step back and just be present. It's okay to just be present and to say I don't know.
For sure.
Right.
You know?
For sure. I'm going to use my mom as a really quick example because I know you probably got some more stuff there, but like my mom was the best at, like, she's logistics. So she works logistics. So in terms of the level of advice that was always useful for me was when she was telling me how to manage life rather than what direction to be in. You see what I'm saying?
Explain what you mean by manage.
Yeah. So, like, for example, my mom was always, the way I think, the reason why, and I always attributed her with the greatest level of credit to it, because I would not be here if it was not for this mentality, is she always said, look, have a plan in place. I don't care what you're doing. Just have a plan in place, right? Whether it's like, son, if you want to go to college, if you want to do X, Y, and Z, cool, but what's your plan?
Right.
So with her working logistics, she's always looking at, okay, what's your step-by-step process of how to get there? You know, do you have a B plan ready for just readjustments? You see what I'm saying? So she would always say, hey, whatever it is, she would just always put an extra that maybe not help sometimes, because the extra was like, whatever you do, just be a doctor, right? So you know what I'm saying? That's when it starts to push into direction, right? That's because of what I wanted to do in life with entertainment or hosting. That's something that she couldn't fathom, but she definitely understood logistics. So she could tell me how to help manage life rather than help, like, what direction to actually go into it. And I think, like, the older you are, when you're in those scenarios where it's like, I don't necessarily know even where to start with you, you just know what you can know. So I know for a fact, hey, I may not know exactly that scenario, but I may know where to help start you in that direction, right? To where it's like, yo, look, it's like mental health, for example. Your mental health struggles are completely different than mine. I can't relate to you on that side of it, but I can help you figure out where to start. So maybe it's talking to so-and-so, or maybe it's saying, hey, start writing things down, right? Which may be something that across the board can help for anybody. And after that, yeah. But, right, I'm going to try my best to help you in that space instead of helping you once again, instead of trying to give you home run advice and I've missed the ball completely. And now you're off in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know, that's not, it's tough.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what you said, I think a lot of people, when they are giving advice, give it out of fear and like.
For sure.
Yeah, so like, oh, I don't want you to get hurt or whatever. Just like your mom, I think she had the best intentions, but
for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of time people just out of fear just wanted protection or whatever. Like, I don't know about that. That seems a little whatever.
And it took me years to understand it.
Yeah,
it took me years. I always thought it was just like you being a hater. Like, I swear, that's how I heard it until I was just old enough to be like, if I had a kid what would I have done? You know, what would I have wanted them to know, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we're building those lives, like, as we get older, but it's just like, okay, so what do I want them to prepare for? Okay, I would want them to be as secure as possible. Dang, that's kind of crazy. Dang, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see how my mom probably was doing the exact same thing, and you can see where, okay, they support you, or even if it's in a friendship and a relationship, you can see how people still support you, but still, you know, maybe just be supporting you in the best way they know how to do it, you know. And sometimes it's dangerous if it gets too much. Sometimes it's dangerous if it's not enough, but it's knowing kind of that sweet spot of just what's enough to get you to the next place.
Yeah.
So,
It's good.
yeah.
So, another question from Doreen. She said she wants to know any new projects or events coming up.
Ooh, okay. So,
I feel like it's been a lot.
no. So, I would say the most immediate. So, for those very young, we talk about entrepreneurship, you know, growing and becoming whatever you need to become. May 19th, right, at the Red Cat Coffee House. We are working on one of our business division projects known as What's Your Worth. You know, this is a series that we've been doing since 2018, and it's kind of the conversation we're talking about are what are the things I wish I had known in starting to build a business and build a brand. And, you know, now it's cool because last year we just more so focused on introductory level. You know, our COO, Brianna Perryman, has done a fantastic job of just, you know, trying to put this together and trying to figure out, okay, if we do another part of it, where's it going? This year it's about creatives. So, you know, we'll have everyone from those who work in more so like the DJ model, life curation spaces, I'll say, music. We'll have event planners, fashion designers. So you get a chance to learn more so about the different, like the more colorful sides of business, right? And on top of it, this year they're talking about why even stay here in Birmingham with it instead of moving to Atlanta or moving to somewhere that's a bigger city. So it's going to be a really cool conversation. There is wine. So for those who are old enough, there is wine. Enjoy yourself. Not too much, though. All right. So be on the lookout for that. And in terms of
May 19th and what time?
May 19th, 6 o'clock, Thursday, Red Cat Coffee House. All right. Just double tap, you know, if you're watching it from your phone, like it'll rewind. Trust me, YouTube does that. So like I'll be knowing, right? Because I'm young. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, stay tuned for more music. We've been in the lab. So somebody here has been at the lab. We'll get into that another day, right? So more music's coming because, you know, prayers up. We should have a very interesting summer for different opportunities. So I'll say that there.
So where can they find the information that you got to plug your Instagram or?
Yeah. Okay. So if you're interested,
want to volunteer.
For sure. I was just about to say that's perfect. If you're interested in volunteering, if you're interested in serving, if you're interested in becoming a member for those who are 17 to 24, or interested in like partnering, donating, all of that, visit thisisoursociety.com. That is THISRSO. Did I say that right? THIS. I know. I gotta get there. I always forget the S. So THISISRSOCIETY. So this is the letter R Society, and it's the same thing like all across social media. So Twitter, we there. Instagram, we definitely there. Definitely go check that out. Make sure y'all follow.
Black Planet.
MySpace. You know what I'm saying? Like we outside. Like what's up? You feel me? MySpace is still there too. Don't play. Hey, MySpace gave y'all some of y'all playlists. You feel me? And then Facebook as well too. And then for me, I'm WestCam_IM. So you can pretty much find me everywhere.
Your name up there.
Oh, that's crazy. Look at that screen. Boy, I look crazy in 4K. I'm outside. You feel me? We speaking that into existence. You hear me? So yeah, you can just follow me pretty much anywhere. If you checking me out now, then yeah, hit this. Ooh, we see how to do that. Ooh, hit that. All right, yeah.
But yes, any other questions? That was it.
Nah, man. I just want to say thank you for dropping some mad wisdom, man. I think
for sure.
I think very highly of you. First of all, you've interacted with all different types of people. You've seen all different types of people in different types of states and environments, and you've helped people level up.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just to say, he was talking about putting people in situations where they're forced to grow.
Oh yeah.
And when I was, I think it was 2021, we had the project. It was a music project.
Ooh yeah.
I can't remember what it was called though.
Yeah.
You younger than me. You remember that?
Flourish on 4th.
Yes.
Y'all did your rookie project. Yep.
And man, that put me through something I'd never been through before. Like I was trying to set up things, get people in the right places, get venues, get vendors, all this different stuff. It was raining, but at the end of the day, I was so proud of myself. Yes, you were there.
Yes, that was dope. Thank you.
I heard you was outside.
Yeah.
I heard you
outside. I might have seen you, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I was there.
But afterwards, man, I felt so proud of myself because I never saw myself putting on an event.
Right.
To me, it always seemed like, oh, that's way too much. And it is, a lot goes into it.
Definitely.
But once you've done something once, your view of yourself changes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're like, wow, I'm more capable than I thought. And Regenerate Society is a community that allows people to experience that.
For sure.
And I think it's so amazing. And everybody go out and support Regenerate Society for real, because they are changing lives for the better. So yeah, man, appreciate having you here, dog.
That's so cool you said that though too, because especially knowing the ventures in which you're about to start is dope, because people don't realize that they need to know something until they had an opportunity to start it.
Right.
And like for me, like back then, event planning wasn't my bag. I had no interest in it, but what it did start becoming was I knew eventually in music, why do I want to pay somebody to book my own show? Right. Or I want to have the idea and the vision to be able to accomplish it. So I may not do it in this space, or let's say, for example, if it's someone who may not care about it in like the outreach space of life, those principles still can take you to the next place of saying, okay, well, shoot, I'm used to doing X, Y, and Z. I'm used to making those calls to venues. I'm used to doing this. And now I just want to do it for myself. So now it's like, well, I can't say I ain't never done it before. I may not want to do it again, but I can't say I ain't never done it before.
It makes it less intimidating.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. To where you're just prepared for, even if it's like, you got Live Nation come and say, hey, you want to set your own tour up? I was like, oh, that's a large way to do that. But I mean, I've done one. Maybe I can do a couple, So it unlocks your brain. I think I saw something that said, the thing about pain is that pain and like working out, you're big into fitness as well, is that, whenever you quit, you stopped your brain from growing. So being in those spaces, it just allows you to learn new information, allows you to grow, and it's tough, it's ugly, but it's more that's stored in there, to where the second time you go back in the gym, it's like, all right, I was here yesterday.
Yeah.
So your body, your brain's just kind of used to it. So yeah, thank you though, I appreciate that. Question though, how do y'all think you heal the youth? Y'all listen to me, I'm curious.
No,
you see how I switched into that? Thank y'all for coming to Closing the Gap, featuring Wesley Wright.
Almost got away.
I know. I was going to close it out.
I'm here with Jo'Van and Brandice today, guys. And I have a question for them. How do y'all heal the youth? I want to know. What do y'all think?
I think you had some good nuggets, but also just, I don't know. I would say just listen and just be supportive and just, I don't know, lead by example, or I don't know. I feel like you're the pro on that, so I'll leave that to you.
No. What you thinking? You over there stirring?
I feel like when people of any age, but I feel like when people go a long enough time without feeling like they're heard, they keep it to themselves. And if you keep it to yourself, a lot of the time you can't move past it.
For sure.
So I feel like creating a safe space for the youth to say, hey, look, it's okay to express yourself. You're angry. Okay, let's talk about it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily going to tell you what to do, but I want to reveal to the youth like the power this negativity has on you, and how it's not making your life better. You know what I'm saying? I want them to truly understand that and recognize, like, I'm not out to get you. And I think sometimes when you get in that negative space, you can feel like everyone's out to get you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like, well, I can't ever do anything right. You know what I'm saying? I already know you're going to come at me, anyway. And it's just like, nah, man, I'm talking to you to understand and help you get through this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at you like, I don't have a problem. It's like, nah, it's not even like that. Right. I would just want everyone's life around me to be better.
Yes.
And I see that for you, you're dealing with something. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like having that conversation and, maybe not forcing them to open up more than they want to at that one time. Kind of like going back to the example of, taking non-Christian and bringing them all the way to Jesus. It's just, maybe if you can just open their mind to be like, hey, look, it's not as scary. You can be vulnerable, and getting them there. So I think that's where it can start.
Definitely. I think real change in that, and I'm gonna ask a follow-up question. I don't know how much time we got, but it's my show now.
Winding. And we're winding down. We're over time.
I appreciate y'all for sure. And I'm gonna save my point on that. Actually, I take that back. So like, I feel like long-term change. People like, let's say for example, if I'm in like a friendship or whatever type of real relationship it is, right? I think people forget that there's like 60 years. Like you have time, right? You know, God willing, you have so much more time to develop, right? And so much more time to say, look, I may say something that's gonna make you mad today, but it's because I expect you in 1 or 2 years to be able to say, you know what? Even if we're just not that level of friends, it helped for the long run, right? So it's putting seeds that are, you know, gonna grow for a tree you may never see grow, right? But it'll still be there if you ever stop by. Second question though, right? Second question.
How did this turn to the? This really did turn.
This is not about me right now, right? We're focused on y'all. So here's my last question, right? Because we thank y'all for coming out. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to my show, aka their show. But,
I was like, wait.
See how she said, yeah.
Please like and subscribe to Closing the Gap BHAM.
So, featuring Wes.
Yes.
Featuring.
That's not here though.
You can come back anytime. Yes.
So I think, if we're about to wrap this up, what is the one piece of advice, right, you could go back and give yourself at the most critical time you needed it?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I thought about that in the car, aka like just now. But yeah, seriously. So like, think about like, we all go through times as a kid to where there was a critical point, whatever that critical point was for you. Now that you're through it and you're older, what is the one piece of advice that maybe they can take home from you guys' experiences that you wish you could give yourself back then? Like if you had the opportunity today, what would you tell yourself in that moment?
Ladies first.
I'll let you go first.
Oh, you're so generous.
Yes.
Surround yourself with people that build you up and don't let people destroy your confidence. Bro, quick example. I just learned about a story about, John Morant. Do you know who John Morant is? He's a basketball player for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
I used to train John Morant. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man. Dude, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Thank you.
I heard this story about John Morant, and his dad had him, I don't know if it was AAU or what, but he was playing under this coach, and he saw the coach the team was good, but the coach was destroying his confidence.
For sure.
And his dad saw that, and he was like, nah, I'm not going to let him sit in this and destroy his confidence, and then he can't perform. So he took him off that team and put him somewhere where he could be successful. And I thought that was so powerful because a lot of times, whether it's our parents putting us in situations that allow our confidence to get destroyed, or we surround ourselves with people that kind of don't fill us up and they kind of just tear us down, even if it's subtly. And that's the thing you got to watch out for. They may not actively be saying like, you ain't this, you ain't that, but they could be slightly like, you all right. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to dim your light.
We might have to do a part 2 of this.
You got to watch out for that. So that's the advice I would have gave myself, is like, watch out for people that try to dim your light and only surround yourself with people that build you up, because your confidence is so valuable.
Yeah. I'm literally here today because of a comment that was so small like that.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
When you say here today, what do you mean?
Oh, so like my whole direction of life changed off a comment so small like that.
Oh wow.
So small. Go.
No,
Go ahead.
I agree with Jo'Van. My same thing is like my I wish I saw my my worth and had the confidence to stand on my own, instead of like always trying to seek validation from someone else or other people. Like, I don't know. So that's my biggest thing, is just to have a voice and have better confidence and things. But yeah, growing up.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to my guest.
He's taking over.
He's really has taken over.
Today. I hope y'all had a great time. Some of y'all
Can
got
we
some free
come
water.
back?
So we'll check the schedule. We have our calendar built. But hey, put in the comments if y'all want to see Jo'Van and Brandice back, and I'll do my best to get them back on the show. So thank y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. I mean, geez.
Least I could do,
But for real, thank you for coming. I really, really appreciate that. And I think some of the nuggets you brought not only can affect the youth, I think it's just a whole, just in interacting with people on your everyday life, just like seeing it in a different perspective, extending that grace, and just like understanding that they're in a moment and this is not what defines them. So I think the youth definitely, but if everybody takes that and account, and take that into account for everyday life, interacting with everybody, I think we'll be in a better place as a whole. So I thank you for bringing that up. I thought that was great. Your mom actually says, Kelly Bracy, she said, yes, it need to be heard. Listen to them without judging. I guess that was what the
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. You can't retweet on YouTube, but I'll retweet it.
Thanks,
but
Mom.
yes. Thank you so much. Come back anytime. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. We really enjoyed it. Like I said, thanks for the wisdom, bro.
Yes.
And it's dope, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank y'all. And thank y'all for listening.
Yes.
We appreciate y'all.
And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And if you want to see him back, let us know too.
Right. Thumbs down if you don't want to see him.
And remember, he doesn't like Martin, and he just saw Lion King, so just keep that in mind.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. See y'all next time.
So what was you saying about Jacquees being better than Lucky Day?
I've never heard one